Alright, so I played a game recently called Between Horizons. From the devs of Lacuna, yet another story-heavy game about investigating stuff. This time it's a little lighter and more, well, it's different is what I'd say. A recommendation, don't even have to think about this. Although I do think there are some unfortunate flaws, and in general the game is just a little lower quality than Lacuna. What is it about? Zephyr, a generational ship on a mission. The only chance for humanity has to survive. The life on Earth is rapidly coming to an end. However, as the years go by, as decades pass, the kids grow up and start to think for themselves. For who truly can accept every aspect of life being decided in advance by the people who are somewhere far away, and might as well not even exist? A rebellion is brewing. What did I enjoy? Well, pretty much the same stuff as Lacuna. It's a detective game and I liked investigating and talking to people, slowly piecing together the whole picture. The visuals are an appealing kind of pixelated 2.5D. I prefer fully 2D personally, but this kind of approach is still nice. Man likes his pixels. Oh, and the overarching story here. It was a lot more involved this time. The player had direct impact on more events now, which made the choices feel very impactful, even if there is a lot of linear stuff too. So it's all fine and good, but I did have problems. Even if I do believe the game is still good, I have a lot more to say about the negatives. The easiest example is the painkiller puzzle, although it had problems with the network and the hacker too, but about that later. Doubt I'd be able to do this entire thing without a walkthrough or multiple playthroughs, which I can't really be asked to do. So the situation is someone got painkillers and they aren't supposed to have them. Finding who involves looking at medical records which use a certain code. The doc nearby explains that there are 3 things in this code: the doctor who prescribes the patient and the number for the medicine. The problem is that none of those are actually explained. The player is supposed to figure it out. The first 2 are easy enough, but the number for the medicine is impossible. Then the player is supposed to talk to the character who has no involvement with the case and doesn't actually complain about headaches prior to it, even if they do mention having been injured recently. Meaning I had no idea to even ask him without a walkthrough. After the conversation, it's implied that the player is supposed to figure out the random number they can see are connected to the case using Mr. Headache. So, for one, nothing gives the implication that the random numbers given aren't just a useless info dump to show that there is a lot of data. 2. Nobody said that it's the only medicine he takes. 3. Nothing explains that it's the same kind of painkiller. 4. Why doesn't any doctor just say what number is the painkiller? 5. Search is too basic. It doesn't involve wildcards to simplify the entire thing, such as filtering the results by showing only the specific recipients. I.e., I can't just input Mr. Headache into search. I need to know the doctor, the patient, and the medicine to start the search, and obviously I need to know how the code actually corresponds to all those things. Yeah, it was not a very good puzzle. Then there is the ping puzzle. I will just mention that I have gotten less than 30 ping to other countries in the past, and that it would make no sense to have such a huge discrepancy in it using a wired connection on the ship. I won't claim to know what the ping would be on a spaceship, but I somehow doubt it's actually possible to locate anything in the way used in this game. Better that, I also had no idea how to actually use the readings. Again, I operated by knowing what the solution is, but I get no indication that it was this particular place. Why not 5 or 6 other rooms nearby? The entire thing is insanely confusing and hard to make heads or tails of. As far as the hacker one goes, that one is just a matter of gambling. The player is given the info that it could be a certain number of people, if they believe a very untrustworthy guy, which then requires believing more of their testimonies and actually leading toward the only culprit, if they weren't lying. Gist is, it's like the dev somehow believes that people always tell the truth, even if it's directly harmful to them. Reality being that people often forget stuff, get it wrong, or just lie because they had some other reason, be it a good one or just because they made an assumption. I suppose another thing is the hidden case. The actual way to discover it was a little too difficult to want more hints. And what followed was far too easy and far too short. A big info dump after a very short sequence of presenting evidence. Bearing that, I disliked the controls which couldn't be rebound again. I don't know why this dev insists on never letting people change controls, and the performance was a little worse than I would like, but I guess it ran well enough. And once I dropped the resolution, the frame rate was very stable. My PC is old, so I have to bring this up. The game definitely doesn't look demanding, so there are expectations. Oh, and another thing is the background info. Some of it was delivered through dialogue, some of it was central to the big reveal at the end, but my problem was that there was just very little of it. In Lacuna there were news and tidbits about other planets. Technically they related to the plot, but all of it was far away. And it was more about building up this world. In Horizons there is truly none of that. A lot less optional storytelling and world building, which is just disappointing. So lastly, I'd like to mention the question brought up by this subtext here, which is a gigantic spoiler, so just an FYI. I'd rather people play through the story blind, and it's definitely an important aspect in this game, unlike a lot of others I might be talking about. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. So, the ship is flying to one destination. However, a new discovery shows an option. A closer planet, but apparently it has already been colonized. Which leads into the reason for rebellion. Do people get a right to decide their destiny, or do we keep blindly following what some people on Earth decided? While the whole hierarchy was also called into question, as everyone is forced to have kids at 35 and pass on their job to said kids, with the main character being assistant chief of security and her dad being the chief, obviously. Apparently she didn't want it, and many others feel the same way, yet we follow it because that's the way it's done. I believe that it's an interesting idea. The whole idea of democracy is all about giving a voice to the people, but in the past and now it has shown many glaring issues. In this particular game, the mission is the entire reason for this whole ship. It was made because of this mission, and people were brought on board for this mission. So defying the mission, even considering defying it, is already contrary to the whole reason it even exists. Everyone is free to choose what they want while playing the game, but I thought that people had the right to know and the right to vote. I still voted for the mission myself, but was fully prepared to go the other way, and it wasn't the easiest choice. The ending scene was also bittersweet, showing what happens after the attempted coup. I enjoyed this whole ordeal. Again, choices matter, and the results are right there for all to see. Also, I went out of my way to look for a pet, so seeing that little line about that was neat. Regardless, it's my belief that the game is a bit worse than Lacuna, but still very much worthy of praise.